Ruben Amorim to Manchester United is here we go, as has just been broken right now by Fabrizio Romano. That's the statement right there. It's breaking news as Manchester United are set to pay the 10 million euro exit clause for Ruben Amorim to become new manager. At of course, about 4 minutes ago is when it has been posted by Fabrizio, the man himself, who is the king of transfers. When he confirms it, you know it's done. When he says, here we go, you know indeed, there you go. Welcome to the United Sport. My name is Webb, a big breaking update that I have been waiting for. People were telling me, Webb, you rushed to confirm this deal. I told you guys, I have my sources that confirm for me some of these stories. So I'll always be proud when I confidently come and, confirm some of these deals. But listen, Sporting have confirmed the formal communication received from Man FC for Amorim to be appointed. Amorim has already said yes to Man United's proposal and project. That is the latest breaking news that has just come in concerning this 39-year-old Portuguese, a former footballer who has managed most recently a Sporting. Of course, he's currently still managing a Sporting Lisbon, managed at Praha as well, but he's a loved manager. He's one of the young, promising managers of the times. Now, listen, I'm going to give you a few things that I believe that Ruben Amorim has got to work on first, immediately when he joins Manchester United. Of course, we are yet to know how soon his joining will be. Of course, we know he won't be in time for the game against Leicester City in the Carabao Cup. That is tomorrow night. Certainly, Ruud van Nistelrooy will be taking charge of that. But we are yet to know what the plan will be. Obviously, you expect Ruud van Nistelrooy to stay on and be part of his assistants, part of the backroom staff. But it's very important to know where he needs to start from if Manchester United is going to indeed head in the direction we expect them to be at. Now, first of all, the first thing I expect Ruben Amorim to do is to have a consistent backline. One of the biggest problems that Manchester United has suffered with, has been the lack of a consistent backline. Guys, you cannot win games of football when you keep tinkering with the backline. You cannot tinker with the goalkeeper all the time. Neither can you tinker with those back four, because you see, here's the thing. The issues with that, and even if it looked like Man United were solving the defensive problems and were not conceding so many goals, even when towards the end of Erik Ten Hag's time, again, the backline does not only help you not to concede goals, it also helps you to attack, because the patterns cannot be there if the people in the back keep on changing, because you find yourself in positions where the players up top are pressing, but because of the lack of consistent communication among the defenders who keep changing, they won't follow, because players don't press in isolation. Bruno will go up top, try to press from the top. The people behind him might delay to join the press. The wingers are not coming back in to try and support and create that compactness, to keep it compact in the middle. The defenders as well are not ensuring that the distance between them and the midfielders is compact, is narrow. So we end up having acres of space in the middle, just because the backline that keeps changing, they do not communicate, and they haven't built any patterns between them. So Erik Ten Hag should have known that, and it doesn't even matter whether you've got what injuries. You've got to have a consistent backline. I will ask you, all players fit with Erik Ten Hag, what was Man United's backline, our preferred starting backline, back four? You would struggle to identify it. That's a big problem, and inadvertently, it's going to impact on how you score goals, the kind of chances you create, but also some of the goals we considered were because the defenders were unaware. Look at a player like Victor Lindelof. Clearly, the ball that we considered, one of the goals from I think it was a header from Fenerbahce. It was, we were seeing an unaware defender, because these guys have not played together. He was playing with Lisandro Martinez at the time. They have not played together. There is no communication between them. So that's a problem that Ruben Amorim has got to solve immediately upon arrival at Manchester United. That's, for me, one of the first things he has got to work on. Now, as we wait to see when he will join in, the other thing, guys, people have been asking me about Ruben Amorim and why I've got the confidence that he can succeed after, long periods of us failing with certain managers who have even been more established than him. Listen, the first thing says Ruben Amorim is a hands-on creative manager, if I would call it that, because Ruben Amorim is not a one-trick pony. Ruben Amorim is the kind of manager who will find ways of creating ideas within the game, depending on how it is twisting. And you see, in the Premier League, your game is going to keep twisting because the opponent keeps evolving. You need a manager who is flexible enough to keep twisting and switching it up. Even when you've got injuries, you need a manager who is not going to stick to their guns and keep switching things up. Ruben Amorim is known for that flexibility. There are managers who are not exactly flexible with formations because maybe not because they don't know how to use these formations, but because of over believing in a philosophy, is so-called philosophy. Now, philosophies today, with the way the game is evolving, philosophies don't work because eventually you can have the big objective of where you want to go and how you want to play, but in terms of formation, you've got to have a certain level of flexibility if you're going to deal with the changing and evolving nature of the game. Coaches keep learning new things, discovering new things. You've got to keep evolving. You cannot be a one-trick pony like Eric Ten Hag was. Now, Ruben Amorim certainly is not a one-trick pony. Not by his make, not by his build, not by his style. That is another important thing that we've got to know about the man who, as I've just told you, has just been nearly confirmed that the communication has been there and United are willing to pay the 10 million euro payout that he has got in his contract for him to leave to a big club. And of course, United, even if they are languishing in 14th position on the pile, United still remains a big club in football. So that's the other thing that I needed to highlight. The other thing that I believe Ruben Amorim has got to do is to play certain players in the right positions. I feel like we've lacked a player who can play deep balls, who can play passes from deep in Man United. And my feeling is that Bruno Fernandes can do that. But you see, if you play Bruno as a 10, then he's not going to be playing you long passes. My feeling is Ruben Amorim has got to switch it up a bit, play Kobe as our number 10 if he's going to keep a formation that has a number 10, and let Bruno drop behind and be a blocking midfielder because he has got the work rate, but also he has got the ability to play long passes. I feel like Bruno can try to be what Paul Scholes was with Man United. Paul Scholes was not your number 6. He was not entirely defensive, but was not a 10 as well. I feel like Bruno can play in that number 8 next to your solid Ugarte, Kobe in 10 if you're going to maintain a 4-2-3-1. Kobe has got to be freed up because of how he uses the ball and how he's able to open up defenses and play those good passes. Bruno's other strength is being able to pick a runner. You can see someone sprinting and he will release them from any position on the pitch. That player is the kind of player you need a little deeper. You see the way we used to play Paul Pogba at times, a little deeper. I want to see Bruno play in such a position. Of course, you can try it out, and there are no guarantees in football that things may work the way you anticipate them. But again, the flexibility that Ruben Amorim has, I feel, can sort of try to give us an idea of if it can work. Of course, the other thing I hinted in my first explanation that the wingers have got to come in and create that compactness. Our wingers keep so wide at times that's why we end up creating big spaces that the opposition are always waiting to pounce on and take for dinner and have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is a problem that has kept us looking shaky and disorganized. Eric Ten Hag struggled with it. Ruben Amorim has got to solve that instantly. Of course, the other big obvious thing is the mentality. The mentality of the team. Are they concentrating? Are they fired up? Are they switched on? Players at Man United, more times than not, proved that they were not switched on. But the beauty about Ruben Amorim is that he's such a communicator. Ruben Amorim is such a communicator. And that's one of the things that have made him a top candidate for the job, because communication is key. In this day and age, if you're going to work with the kids of today, you've got to be a communicator in every business you're in. Communicate with them before, during, and after. How do you communicate with them? Eric Ten Hag's communication during, because that's what we saw, because we do not know what he was doing behind closed doors. But during the game, his communication was whack. He was like a spectator at times. Now, that is not good at all in this day and age with this competitive nature of the competitions that they play in and the intensity. But also, we need players who are, we need to cut down on the physicality, because the team we have is not entirely physical. If you look at it critically, and I've said this before, the elite, good as he is, technical as he is, physically, he's not up there. Our backline is not exactly the most physical. Some of the midfielders we've had, of course, you can talk of the young legs of Kobe and maybe Ugarte, but who is just beginning to pick himself up with Man United. Most of our players, Eriksen, Casemiro, are not exactly physical. So how then are you going to help them? Play a formation that is not going to require them to go into duels, into running duels. They can't, because they can't. Eriksen is 30 what? He's mid 30s. Casemiro is mid 30s. You can't make them run. They can't run. They will not go into a running battle with 19, 20, 21-year, 25-year-old opponents. They will certainly lose. You're starting a war, a battle on a losing slate. So all those are things that we believe Ruben Amorim is bound to change about Manchester United. Of course, we are waiting, of course, now for the confirmation to come in. Of course, there are people who think maybe Amorim could be joining Man United uh, after this season, can stay a bit long until the end of the season. I don't think Ineos would be in a rush to sell him if they want to leave him for the whole season. Well, I really don't think so. I feel like they know they can salvage something. It's early days in the season. Man United can salvage something in this season. So if you sack the manager now, it's only right that you bring in a manager trying to salvage the season early. So it doesn't make sense for them to sack Eric Ten Hag and